Hey, welcome to another video. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tracy. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to use some clear foil to make this really super shiny shaker card. I'll be using Crafty Critta foil today, and we're going to use both toner and hot foil. Let's go ahead and get started. Alright, we're going to start here with our background, and I've got my ugly little old stamp that I'm going to use to kind of help hold my paper down because I'm going to be using a lot of water, and this Nouveau Shimmer powder in Blue Blitz and Cherry Bomb. This card is going to be shiny, shiny, shiny. This is watercolor paper, and I am laying the paper bumpy side down. It doesn't really matter. You could do either side because we're not going to be stamping on it. You could if you wanted to. I'm just making sure that's good and stuck down, and then I'm going to get it nice and wet. And I'm just trying to come up with, you know, sort of some magical colors to go underneath our shaker here. So I'm just shaking out some of this cherry bomb onto the paper. And then I'll go ahead and get that pretty wet so it starts moving around. And don't worry, it looks really dark right now, but it's going to lighten up. No worries. So I'm just kind of picking this thing up and just kind of moving it around a little bit. Your paper will pop off, but I'm trying to keep it down best I can. So see, I'm holding it here with my finger trying to keep it down. And this can be a messy endeavor, I'll admit it, but it's worth it. So I'm going to go ahead and wet down that Blue Blitz now and try and hold this down. I don't want it all running off the paper just yet. I don't mind that it runs off, but I'm really going to douse this and move this shimmer powder around. And then, of course, you'll want to dry it. But once you're kind of happy with the way the colors have floated around, and I'm just going to pick it up and move it back and forth, and then just pick it up off of that little thing and clean up my little mess there. After I'm done kind of moving it around. And I'm happy with that outcome right there. I don't want it too dark. You could go dark, but that's not my intention today. So I'm drying this off, and I've cleaned up my mess. Now that I've got this dry, I'm going to take it kick it up another notch here. And I'm going to grab the cherry bomb again, and I'm going to put it directly on my mat here. And then I'm going to take my fan wet paintbrush, just dip it in some water, mix it around, and just splatter some of this pink down. And then once you splatter down one color, you want to dry it really well before you go on to the next, because I don't want my splatters turning into blobs. So I'm just kind of cleaning off my brush here, and then I'll clean this off and I'll get that dry, and then we'll come back to the blue. Get it nice and dry, every little drop. All right, now I'm ready for my blue. Same thing, just tap it down onto my mat and then get my brush wet, swish it around, and drop it on. So this stuff is much shinier in person than you can get it on camera. Just trust me on that. I tried every which way I could to get it on camera, and it just doesn't want to cooperate. So I'm just got that dry now, and let's just make sure that it's completely dry before we move on to the next step. And it's dry, and I have my little spellbinders. This is the black one that I got from scrapbook.com, and what I want to do is I want to cut out my rectangle, which is going to be my A2 size card. And so I'm just grabbing one of these to kind of fit. And that's what I've got there is 4 by 5 1/4. And I'm going to go ahead and trim out my little background piece here, nice and neat. And it doesn't really matter where you put it on there because it's all pretty cool looking. So you do you. Yeah. So I'm just going to tape this down so it doesn't move around on me in case I have to go back and forth. I see that my plate's kind of getting a little bit warped, so sometimes I have to go more than one go. but this time I didn't. So we'll just go ahead and get that cut out, and then we'll be ready to move on to the next step. One thing I like about this is I can put it away and get it out of my way. Hey, granted it's sitting on the floor, but at least it's not in my way. So now I've got a perfectly shaped piece of cardstock. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to get into my foil here. And this is my toner foil, Crafty Critta toner foil. And what I'm looking for is the optical lens right here. So this has a really cool effect. And one thing about the clear toner foil, it's rather thick, so it does make for a nice shaker portion. Now I've done this also with the hot foil, and it does work, but the hot foil is a little bit more flimsy. This stuff is just the perfect thickness. So I'm going to pick up my water bottle that I dropped, and I'm going to trim this so that it's just beyond the edges, because I'm going to need some room to fold over. And then after I've got that trimmed down, I want to miter the corners. Now this can be tricky, so just pay attention that you don't clip off too much, because it'll want to flop away on me here, and I don't want it to do that. Okay, so I got a little scissor happy there, so I'm just going to move this over a little bit and try and just hold this corner so that it stays firm enough for me to be able to clip it off. Just don't want to go below. You want to make it can be over a little bit. So maybe, I don't know, 1/16 of an inch or so, but you don't want it to go under so that you have a hole in your work. Okay, so you can see I'm just moving this around so that it's got enough space between the corners that I'll be able to close those off completely. And I'm going to use this double-sided tape from scrapbook.com. This is just an 1/8 inch tape. And find the end, which is always tricky for me. And I'm just going to lay it down right directly onto the paper, and then pick up the backing and fold that part over. And then I'm going to flip it around, and I'm going to do the sides. We're going to leave the top open so we can fill our shaker. Just checking it for tightness. You want to pull it kind of tight, but not so tight that it bows. Now I like to use my Spellbinders tape on top of that. You don't have to. I just feel more secure about it. All right, so now we're ready to fill this bad boy up. Already it looks cool, but wait till we put the goodies inside. So I've got out my little confetti and different mixes. This one in my hand I got from Glitter Lambs, and I couldn't tell you the name of it, but I shop either at This Calls for Confetti or Glitter Lambs. And I'm using, I think, all Glitter Lambs today. I wait until they put their stuff on clearance, and then I buy it. So this is like it's smaller than sequins and it's thinner than sequins. It's a very fine little mix. Now these little stars glow in the dark. So that's a cool effect with your shaker. It gives it an added glow. And plus they're iridescent, so, you know, that helps too. And then I'm going to go ahead and throw in some blue. I don't want to go too crazy with it because a lot of the shaker bits will stick to the foil just by static. And that's okay. It makes it look cool. So there we go. We've got all of our bits in, and now it's just time to fold this over and tape it down at the top. Let me just put away my little beauties here. I love all my little beauties. Flip the card over, and just the same procedure, tape it down. Just making sure that that tape is good and stuck down before I try to lift the backer. And then I'm just going to flip it over so it's closer to me, and that's just for convenience. You don't have to do that. That's just me. And then I'm going to go ahead and double seal this bad boy. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be popping this up on with some foam tape. And it's going to be a landscape card. See, isn't that cool? Look at that. I think that is so neat. Just that whole holographic scene there makes it completely look three-dimensional. I found this out by accident because I was trying to foil something and it just, the foil would not stick, would not stick, would not stick. And I'm like, well, what can I do with that piece of foil I've already cut off? And by the way, that's not blood on my fingers. That's Nuvo drops. Now, I'm going to go ahead and get this out of my way before I get it stuck to 9,000 things. And I'm going to put foam tape on here. And this is sped up because it's putting foam tape on. It's pretty boring. And go ahead and rip the backs off. Stand up and push that down. All right, now we're ready for our toppers, right? We need something on top, although it's pretty cool to look at just like that. Let me get you in closer so you can see all that sparkle and shine and how it looks three-dimensional. Like, I don't know, weird glass or something like that. I don't know. So I am getting out my die cuts, and I think I'm going to use the U-Shine. And this one comes in several parts. I was sorry about that later, but I'm thinking I might use that piece. But no, you know, I did foil a blank piece, so I think I'm going to go ahead and cut it out of that foiled piece. But let's look at this and see if I like this. Oh no, I didn't foil it yet. Never mind. Skip what I just said. I haven't foiled it yet. We haven't even done our hot foiling because we're going to do some hot foiling too. So I've got this little set. I've never used it, and I'm going to go ahead and clip that apart off camera because, yeah, another kind of boring thing to do. Just looking for my little Lawn Fawn trimmer thingies. I'm on the fence about these, but at least they fit in. But they like to cross over themselves, and that's, to me, not very good. But I mean, maybe it's supposed to do that. I never know. I know how I like things to work and versus how maybe they're supposed to work. But it does the job, so that's fine. And it's a lot easier than my jewelry clippers. Well, I thought I was going to clip that out off camera, so you can watch me struggle with it for a minute before I finally decide you don't need to watch this. This is not exciting. So that word "you" comes in 3 letters. I prefer my stuff to be, you know, in all together, but sometimes I don't notice when I'm shopping that it's like that. I know one thing, they're cheaper that way. Like, not cheap like quality, but cheap like expensive or inexpensive. All right, so let's go ahead, and I guess you're stuck with me here for a minute. Sorry about that. Okay, good. That's done. I finally remembered to turn off my camera. So I've got here these delightful dragonflies, and they come with a die cut, and they come all in one piece. And I'm going to foil these on vellum. So I've got this vellum here. It's a very thick vellum. It's great for foiling. And I'm just going to cut a piece that's going to fit. I don't know what I'm doing now. Oh, you know what I'm doing is here. I'm getting out my glimmer and getting it warmed up here. And inside I've got my waffle flower flat piece, which I don't realize right now as I'm working. But when I go to open it, I realize it's there. And that's when I decide I'm going to do the letters in the same foil as I do the butterfly, not the butterflies, the dragonflies. So let's get out our stuff here. Okay. Grab my vellum. I see that I'm sort of off camera here. There's just not enough room for everything on my desk. I'm just going to lay my dragonflies on there and just kind of cut around them because I don't want to waste any of this vellum. It's not exactly cheap, but hey, it foils. So I've got my vellum ready, and then I want to go ahead and choose a foil here. And I'm going to be using, again, Crafty Critta hot foil this time, and I'm going to use Silver Illusions. So you didn't see me digging through that whole thing because I edited it out. because I dug for quite a bit trying to find it. I think I might have too many foils. Yeah, storage is an issue, you know. So there's that. And what I'm doing here off camera is I am trying to hunt down a scrap piece of paper here so that I can hot foil just a plain piece that I can cut my sentiment out with. Okay, here's my scrap, and these are the colored toner foil sheets, and I like them because they're thicker. So, you know, I get a kind of substantial cut out of it. And so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go ahead and cut my foil, or I have no idea what I'm doing. I stepped away somewhere. There I am. Oh yeah. I came in here to look for my flat waffle flour, but it's already in my machine. So, whoops. Well, okay. So might as well actually put that back. Put it back since it was already getting warm, and go ahead and lay some foil out over this scrap piece. Now this Silver Illusions is kind of, well, it's kind of holographic too, so we're just shining all over the place today. And I'm going to go ahead and just cut the piece of foil and lay these out on my on the foiling plate. If I can pick it up. Yeah, I'm having issues with my nails lately. They just all want to break. They're just all, I don't know what happens. They'll be fine, and then all of a sudden they'll just start breaking one by one. Like, come on, guys. Give us a break here. All right, so I went ahead and through the magic of video, edited out, waiting for that to finish. And I'm going to fight to get this through my spellbinders. It's still a little tight in some spaces. And I'm going to bring it back through backwards just to make sure it's stuck down there really well. Okay, pull off and reveal. Try and get this off. I'm not ready for the foil to come off yet. It's still too hot. So I got to find a corner that'll let me bring the paper too. Yeah, my plates are a hot mess. It's okay. They still work. So no big deal. All right, I'm going to pull that off now, and I'm going to put my dragonflies on. So I've got my little dancing dragonflies, and then I'm going to grab my piece of foil, and I'm kind of laying my foil with my paper, shiny side down, and then just feeling to make sure that all the dragonflies are covered. And they are. So I'm going to try not to move, and I'm going to go ahead and close this. Set my timer. And then through the magic of video, I'll go ahead and reveal this piece here. Isn't that pretty? All right, this is ready. Let's go ahead and run it through. And I'm not going to go back and forth with that one. All right, pull these off. Looks like they foiled perfectly. I'm just going to go ahead and switch this off and put this away, get it out of my way so that I can carry on with what I'm trying to do here. Because I still have to cut out the letters and the dragonflies. So we'll go ahead and get the rest of my Spellbinders platform here. Yeah, I'm finding this thing really, really handy. Generally I'll use my little sidekick, but it doesn't like to stick to my mat, my cutting mat. So I'm going to cut out the You Shine out of this silvery color, which looks really rainbowy right in that picture, doesn't it? Ooh, oh, that stuff's pretty. Dang. Okay, I'm going to pull the whole platform out and check on the other side to make sure that it's foiled through. And I'm going to be doing 2 more layers of just white paper. So I don't know why I'm putting these away, just so I don't lose them, but it doesn't mean anything. I can still lose them. And here's our little dragonflies. And we're going to go ahead and cut these out as well. And then I'll do the rest of my cutting off camera because there's just, yeah, It's just cutting and gluing and cutting and gluing. Find my mint tape here and find the die. Where did I put it? See what I mean? I lost it already. There it is. I love this little stuff. I love dragonflies. They're my thing. I prefer them over butterflies, although I like butterflies a lot too. So, but I don't know, just sort of dragonflies to me are magical. And that's the whole theme of this card, is just magical, shimmery, shiny. And by the way, I just stuck a piece of paper over top of that. It seems to help with cutting out the vellum. Ugh, but it's a push. I could walk over and send it through my Vagabond, but I just can't be asked because it's over there, you know. Lazy bones. All right, and then I decided to put this away, and then I realized I still need to cut out other things. So first you can watch me put it away and then say, wait a minute, there's something else I need to do. Too many steps. My whole point of this video was showing you how to make the shaker, but I figured I might as well just go ahead and make a full card so that you can see the impact of it once it's turned into a card. So again, my foils came from Crafty Critta, and my die cuts came from Simon Says Stamps. The vellum came from Amazon. The paper, I don't know. I got the watercolor paper at Walmart, and then the paper I use for the die cuts is just some accent opaque 110 pound. Yeah, I needed those shadow layers. That's what I needed to do. And it didn't even cut all the way through. See, I don't quite understand what happens there, but I'll just move them around and see if I can get them to cut through. I think there's a spot somewhere, and it's most likely my plates are, you know, warping as they do. And I'm going to go ahead and go back and forth with that to make sure that they cut out. All right, those cut out for sure. We're good. They're rather small, so, you know, that's why I decided the dragonflies would be great. So I'm going to go ahead and cut all the rest of my stuff and put it all together here so that I'm off camera. So I've got my shaker card. It's ready to go. I'm just going to start putting things down. I'm going to decide on placement for the Hue Shine. Grab my extra hands here because sometimes I need them. And just sort of lay it out, see how, you know, how I might like it to, you know, materialize. And no, I'm not going to use him. I want to use all the big ones on here. Let's see here. Just want to make sure my composition's good. And I'm not going to be putting any bling on the outside of there because it's just really not necessary. So I'll go ahead and start gluing things down. Okay, so we've got the U. I'm just going to get it as straight as I can. And you do have to give these time to dry because they are drying on top of that foil, which, you know, is a little bit slick. Just kind of decide where I want to put this and make sure it's as straight as I feel like it needs to be. I'm not using a ruler or a T-square or anything like that. I just don't feel like it's necessary. If I did, I would. And then I'm just going to put glue on the bodies and basically towards the head. It'll dry clear, so I'm not too worried about it. And I'll be lifting the wings a little bit. So just a wee bit of glue. Enough to get them to stick. I'm just going to kind of hold that down, and I'm not folding the wings, I'm just lifting them a little. They already kind of lift on their own. And then, not sure what I think I'm doing over here. Oh yeah, I want a sub-sentiment. So I'm going to cut out the "You are perfect just the way you are." This is from Pride last year. Kathy Zilski and Simon Says Stamps. I bought the set and didn't use them all. Obviously, these things will last you for years. I mean, depending on the kind of prolific card maker you might be. I'm going to use the mini trimmer because that one little space on the inside there where the guard is a 1/4 inch. And it's perfect to cut these out. You just want to make sure you're holding it down, especially in the middle, so that the paper doesn't bend on you while you're cutting. And then I want to line this up, and I'm just going to line it up with one of the square, grids there, just to make sure it's lined up and straight. And then just trim off the ends. And I like encouraging cards like this. So this could be any type of card. It could be a thank you card. It could be a congratulations. It could be just because. It could be, because somebody's, bummed out about something. Or I don't know, me lately, I've been mad at everything. I don't know what's going on. Just almost every day I wake up and I'm mad. And I'm like, why am I mad? There's nothing going on. So I don't know. So maybe I'll keep this card for myself. Tell myself to stop being such a what and chill. Don't worry about it. So I'm leaving that blank because, again, I'm not sure how I'm going to use this card, but this is the card, and this is the shaker made with the Crafty Critta clear holographic foil. And our little shaker bits. Isn't that cool? I mean, dude, that thing is amazing. Anyway, I hope you like this video. If you do, consider giving me a thumbs up. Leave a comment down below. And if you have any questions, don't forget to ask questions. Because, I'm here for you. That's it. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks again for coming. Take care. Bye-bye.